Good day, everyone. I am John Ivan Gabriel Gakay, your host, and today we are going to get into exploring Rizal beyond the textbooks. So, here in the show, we'll go beyond what we are usually taught in the textbooks and we'll try to uncover the real Rizal, who he really is, and why he is still relevant today. So, today's episode, we'll be discussing Rizal's influence on modern Filipino society even more than a century after his death. What is his value now to us, to the Philippines, and to society? And how can he be present, or how does he influence the digital age? So let's go, guys, and find out. And start off, Rizal once said, ang hindi marunong lumangon sa pangailang pinagagalingan ay hindi makakarating sa paroroonan. So, what he's trying to say here is we have to look back at our past to guide our future, more like to learn from it. So we see in his novels No Limitang Hiren and Filibusterismo, were written to expose the issues of his time and to inspire change among the people. But for us, how do these lessons translate to us? How can we apply it? So, for example, we can say that education is the foundation because Rizal is a very good scholar and a smart kid. And even today, issues like quality education, misinformation, and maybe even the lack of critical thinking. Kung buhay si Rizal ngayon, he would probably discuss these things. He would probably call it out and push for changes. But even beyond education, he was still concerned with politics, justice, governance, and the freedom of the people. Issues that remain just as crucial today. So I'd like to ask my fellow members here to discuss more of the ideas around Rizal.
Looking back on Rizal's message with his previous works, it exposed the injustices of his time, the struggles he wrote about education, justice, and governance. These are still challenges that we face in today's world. And I could imagine if he was alive now, he would most likely be an advocate for education, the truth in media, and responsible governance, where his belief that knowledge empowers people's mind, which helps us fight for a society.
Yeah, I'd like to emphasize on the education part. In my opinion, I think the uh low quality of education is a deliberate move in the country. Um, the problem is like the more educated the people get, the smarter the decision they make when it comes to voting. And I think that politicians and people involved in politics deliberately do not prioritize the improvement of our education system because they'd like to prey on the misinformation and the lack of, like what was said, the lack of critical thinking that the country has.
It's like they're trying to control us, no?
Yeah,
Tama?
yeah, like in the past, like that was the past issue, right? Like
Mm,
they refused to educate the people
the
because
common
they were afraid.
people.
They were
Yes.
afraid that they'd rise up.
That's still a recurring theme, no?
Yes.
Very good insights. So let's move on so imagine if Rizal were here to witness the current situation in the Philippines, he would say a lot of things around corruption, disinformations, and struggles of the common ordinary Filipino people. And in his novels, for example, he criticized those in power, he called out those in power, and he calls out to the people to make a move to recognize the abuse in society and to stand up against it. Because sadly, these themes are still present today. as many are experiencing inequality, poor governance, and a lack of accountability, which is very important for a leader. And one of his strongest beliefs was actually the freedom of expression. So we see the pros and cons of free speech, especially in our age now. The generation today is very prevalent, very how do you say this, efficient, compatible with social media. Information flows very fast with platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Many people are given a voice. But you see, these kinds of platforms, while useful, when put in the wrong hands, they are actually dangerous. So, at the time, for Rizal, his Facebook and Twitter would be his writings, his novels, because it could be easily distributed to the masses. So, these kinds of things, like, ayun, he would, his writings would encourage the Filipinos to use the knowledge and the tools that they have at this time, the writing and all the teaching just by voice. But now we have social media on our side. So, and guys, ano thoughts niyo sa what would you like to add on the topic of this?
Bro, honestly, I could imagine Rizal creating memes if he was alive right now. He would probably be creating
Pwede.
memes about
Yeah.
the ICC, the recent issue right now.
Mm,
And he would probably empower us people to voice out our thoughts um with our oppressive government that has been ignored for years.
yes.
Um
Mm,
and honestly, looking back, Rizal really believed that leaders should be held accountable. Even if they're that powerful, he still uses his mind to fight back. And I think that is something that we should admire and adapt to as Filipino citizens.
May I add? I think that in this time, if ever Rizal was alive in this time, that information is easier to spread out to people because of social media, and people can be informed easily to what is happening around us compared to the past where information is really like it can be contained by like a government or that, but with social media right now, even a normal person can spread information throughout the whole world. So I think that's really powerful.
yeah.
I would like to add as well. So for me, I believe there's a lack of learnings and teachings because since there's a danger in I would say spreading about no, about showing freedom of speech, there can be a knowledge gained from it's just that it's sad that a lot of journalists who are in our country die due to speaking against I would say some of or criticize some of the things that the government is doing. So it would be better if I would say there was a ease of I would say restrictions in the way that journalists can voice their opinion without getting without getting killed or harassed in social media or against the government.
Yeah, I support that stance that the freedom expression that we have today is like the greatest it has ever been. I think for I don't know, like start of time probably, because the information, anything you want to know about is like easy access at your hands. Yeah, but that comes at a cost of misinformation, which I mean to get into politics again. I think was essential for the past elections. From where Bongbong Marcos won, and about the ICC arrest, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah. Look, a quick look at social media, and you'd see like the supporters of that political family will show up again. And like a lot of people I mean, I don't know if this is real, but a lot of people are arguing that the trolls that were essential for the election last time are springing up again. And I don't know, but I think I agree with that because anything I see is just them blindly supporting the past president, even though he's being arrested now. Just, just kind of weird to support someone still. I'm still someone being arrested. Yeah, kind of weird.
Mm, interesting takes, guys. That's actually a good sign that coming from us, the youth who are aware and engaged in at least learning about the situations in our society and critically thinking about it and discussing it amongst ourselves because that's very important for society nowadays. And another question to add up is how is Rizal perceived in digital era or how is Rizal present in the digital era? Because his works uh back then they were just read in rooms by the revolutionaries when they were just hiding. But now all you need is a little searching. You can find a document online and then maybe through memes, adaptations like movies, or maybe even videos like in TikTok, short form videos that catch the attention of many and teach them about Rizal. And these technologies make his works more accessible than ever. But sometimes, again, we are prone to misinformation. They can be some information could be omitted or maybe misinterpreted. Many, I'd say, um, would just see the topic of Rizal as just another requirement lang to sa school. Just pass Rizal and then you'll be fine with college. Pero there's still a lesson behind it when you find ways to apply his teachings to real life, making it engaging like storytelling, filmmaking, or discussions like this one. And after all, because Rizal was a forward thinker, he would always be open to new ideas. And if he were alive today, he would be one of those people to be active in speaking and inventing new things or technologies for education and awareness. What would you guys like to add if Rizal were here today or in the digital era?
Can I add? I think that Rizal would. I agree with that. Rizal would really like speak up about issues right now with the Duterte issue, with the Sara Duterte versus Bongbong Marcos issue. I think that Rizal would have a strong opinion about that, and he would really like push out his opinion towards that, and like really push his opinion, and he's really strong with that.
I honestly think that if I were in Rizal's shoes, I would probably be heartbroken since the past issues that he had been fighting for still is it's kind of useless in a sense since it is still prevalent here in today's world. Like there are still many abusing their power, many leaders still serves themselves instead of their people. And I think Rizal would probably say something like, ipaglaban ang dapat ipaglaban. Or something else where when you hear it, it would light a fire deep inside our hearts, our Filipino hearts. Rizal's presence in the digital era is fascinating. People create YouTube videos about him. They create simple animated short films about him. But I think this is a double-edged sword. Some people might think of it as Rizal is being oversimplified. Like, how do you say this? Like Rizal's works are converted into like a simple trivia or something like that. Some quotes that he says just means these things, but during their time, it is not just a quote. It is something that led the people, led the people to fight back, to defend our country and our hearts as Filipinos. That's all.
I would like to add. So
Ah, go.
I believe that I can agree with what you said about there needs to be new ways in, I would say, making Rizal's teachings more enjoyable because there's a lot of media nowadays that I believe can help in telling the stories and teachings of Rizal more clearly and as well engaging. Like one of the ways I can think of is I would say making a like VR game to where you can go in the eyes of Rizal and see his many journeys throughout the world and as well imagine the hardships and what lessons that you can possibly get from uh, going through his shoes. And I would say another thing is as well is probably finding a new medium since there's already film, there's storytelling, but finding something that you can, that's what I've said, that literally can interact with, can possibly help in our generation's case in learning it and enjoying the teachings of results.
Mm, that's some very valuable insight, guys. So, taking all we have discussed today, uh, would you think Rizal is is Rizal still relevant in modern Filipino society? Not just for you guys, but for our audience watching. Well, I would say for me, it's a yes because the things he advocated for education, justice, freedom in speech, and national identity, although not directly, it can still be reflected and related uh to what's happening today and the people of today. It's up to us whether we really want to value him or not. We would still need to. It's part of his legacy to have people grown on education and critical thinking. And I would say he lives on not just to just novels that are taught to children, but he lives on through the nature of the people who are fighting and learning and going against the corruption the of the world and our country, of course, taking care of the country. So that is the true value of Rizal for me in the modern society. And yeah, that's all we have for you, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, follow us on our social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you have any thoughts, you could always let us know. Send us a message because we love to hear from you. Thank you for listening. I am John Ivan Gabriel Gakay, joined by Boss Glenn Gopez, Wade Villanueva, Dominic Oida, and Joshua Zamora, my group mates. And thank you for listening, everyone. See you in the next episode. Paalam at mabuhay.
Thank you.